The three pillar device. What are they and how do they relate to delivering a really high quality, high value plan of care for our patients, athletes, and clients? Today, we're going to talk about the three pillars of ICE: psychologically informed practice, manual therapy skilled, and fitness forward. We're going to break down what each of those pillars mean and how it relates to practice and what it truly looks like to bring those three, blend those three together in a plan of care, an in-depth plan of care tailored for each and every patient that comes to see us. So starting with psychologically informed practice, creating patient empowerment. The idea that people come to us with a wide variety of beliefs and an infinite number of topics and questions and beliefs related to everything on the spectrum of health and fitness. I truly believe it's our job to not only understand their beliefs and how those can affect a plan of care, but also to truly understand our own beliefs and how our beliefs might unfortunately bias our plan of care with that patient. Why does that matter? At the end of the day, what we're doing is that person coming to us for whatever they're coming to see us for is looking to meet some goals. It is our job to unpack what those goals might be. For some people, this can be tough, right? If a goal can be, my doctor told me to come here, or I don't want to have shoulder pain anymore. But really taking time to get to know that person, if possible, as early on in the plan of care as we're able, to really understand why you're coming to see me. What does that translate to in your daily life? How is that limiting your function? How is that limiting what maybe you're doing in your recreational activity at work, with your kids, the gym, running, whatever it might be? Understanding those belief systems, understanding what that person's goals are, and then getting that person on the path to start to achieve some of those goals. And if we can, understanding how the blend of beliefs and goals can help us remove some of the barriers that might be limiting that person from beginning on the path to start to achieve those goals. How do we do that? How do we implement psychologically informed care? I think it really starts in the first visit with asking a lot of open-ended questions of, yes, we're going to unpack symptom behavior, but then we need to dig several layers deeper and understand, what does this person truly believe about what's happening, what may or may not help them, what things they have done in the past, how those things may or may not have been helpful, what they're willing to try in the future, things like even how much time do you have on a daily basis to commit towards achieving some of those goals. Those can really help establish a psychologically informed framework that's really going to set the stage for the rest of the plan of care as we begin to maybe layer in some manual therapy and/or exercise interventions, perhaps even in that initial evaluation. I think if you're not asking those open-ended questions, you're not unpacking patient beliefs, you're really leaving a lot on the table. That when folks start to tell you some of their beliefs, it can be really quite shocking what some folks out there think and believe, right? I have had a patient who was importing dirt from a wide variety of different countries and eating that dirt because they were told that the different chemical content of different dirts across the world could affect how their back pain unfolded, and that eating dirt from maybe Africa could help reduce their back pain. And sometimes we can hear beliefs and think, wow, that's for sure not going to help. But again, understanding our own beliefs and making sure that our beliefs do not bias our plan of care. Of hearing from patients that I think if I continue to exercise my low back, the bones might shatter and fracture. And so understanding how those negative belief systems can affect how a person is approaching their own limitations, their own barriers that they might perceive to beginning activity for the first time or resuming activity that they're already performing is part of that comprehensive plan of care. The second pillar of ICE is being manual therapy skilled. And now there's a lot of contention with this on social media, back and forth. Manual therapy sucks. People who practice manual therapy should be sued for malpractice and lose their license because we know it does not create any long-term change in an organism. But I like to equate manual therapy a lot like to getting bread when you go out to dinner at a restaurant, of understanding that different groups of people, much related to our first point of psychologically informed practice, they have different beliefs about manual therapy. And understanding those beliefs is really important with how we approach and bring manual therapy on board or not. A lot like bread at dinner, some folks may always expect bread, and they may always be disappointed when they don't get bread. They may even be offended. They may not come back to a restaurant because they didn't get bread service. Some folks maybe want bread on a case dependent basis, right? Maybe they're coming to dinner and they're very, 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 very hungry and they want that bread just because they want to fill their stomach. They don't really care what they get or how they get it. They just want some of it, right? They don't really have a specific belief about it. They just want a little bit of it. And there are, of course, folks who sit in a population bucket of they don't want bread at all. And if it's offered, they're not going to take it anyways. And so understanding that that person's belief is going to affect if we use manual therapy at all and how much we use. Bringing us to the question of, is it necessary to utilize manual therapy? Well, that depends, right? Is it the goal of the patient? Well, it depends on who that patient is. Because if that patient is a competitive athlete, they're already exercising 2, 4, 6, 8 hours a day. Is it really the best use of that person's time to come to physical therapy and exercise for another hour? That person's already bumping up against a volume management issue. And so is it the best use of our time? Is it the best use of that patient's time and money to come do more exercise with us? The answer for some folks is no, right? They are looking for recovery. In particular, they're looking for passive recovery. And again, understanding the underlying belief framework is better going to help us understand if we bring manual therapy and how much of it we bring on board. Is it helping the patient? That is on us, right? That is not on the patient. That is on us to ensure that if we do use a manual therapy, we are always doing a test-retest methodology where we're saying, I am doing this manual therapy technique and I'm hoping it improves X, Y, and Z. Well, if that is my clinical reasoning, I need to put it on myself to make sure I have tested those things before I apply an intervention, and then I retest those after. No different between manual therapy and therapeutic exercise. If I'm going to do an intervention, I need to retest to prove to both myself and my patient that that was a worthwhile use of our time. And if it's not, I need to have the humility to understand I need to change up the intervention if it didn't give us the change that we were looking to see. A hard to swallow pill about manual therapy is that a lot of the very vocal anti-manual therapy practitioners across social media and the internet are usually not treating patients. And maybe they have never treated a patient in actual practice. And understanding that for some of those folks, they are avoiding it because they never got good at it. And it is natural psychological compensation for a human being to avoid things that they are weak at or that they don't know. But that doesn't let us get away from what we just talked about, that there are going to be some folks on your caseload who expect manual therapy, maybe every time. They expect it maybe sometimes. And with that, we need to understand that belief system to know how much or how little, or if at all, we're going to use manual therapy. And that, again, we're tough on ourselves with the test-retest method to ensure for most of our patients, statistically, 80% of our patients, the thing that brought them to physical therapy is some combination of a sedentary lifestyle and some sort of fear or barrier about changing that lifestyle behavior. They likely have a close association with some sort of kinesiophobia regarding a movement, a functional task in life or at work or something like that. And then even though we know that exercise has an almost infinite number of benefits, strength, cardiovascular, increasing quality and quantity of life, something often overlooked in fitness forward practice is not just that we're trying to make this person a healthier, more fit human being, but we're also trying to make this person a more confident human being. In the scope of physical therapy plan of care, that person becomes a stronger, more confident, resilient person because they see how doing stuff with us in PT translates to being able to do it more functionally in daily life. That if we can get a person kettlebell deadlifting 53 or 70 or 100 pounds in physical therapy, all of a sudden the confidence with bending over to pick up those Amazon packages or their grandkid or a bag of dog food or to weed the yard or move brick pavers around or whatever it is suddenly increases. And it's often overlooked in a lot of our research when we compare things like manual therapy to exercise and say both groups had improvements in pain. What's usually not also studied is which group came away more resilient and more confident, which group came away with a reduced sense of kinesiophobia. And very few research papers dig that level deeper to show us that fitness forward is not just helping people overcome a sedentary lifestyle, but become more confident in that transition to a more active lifestyle. So what does it look like to put all these things into practice? I'm going to take a brief break and introduce myself. My name is Alan. I'm happy joining you today. It is the PT on Ice Daily Show. I have the pleasure of serving as our Chief Operating Officer and an instructor in our fitness, athlete, and practice management divisions. Leadership Thursday, we talk all things small business, ownership, practice management, that sort of thing. Leadership Thursday also means it is Gut Check Thursday. Gut Check Thursday this week is a twist on a classic benchmark workout. This week is Death Race 2.0. We have 5 rounds for time, 15 calories on a fan bike for guys, 12 for ladies. And then after every bike, you're going to do 9 burpee box jump overs. Guys are going to jump to a 24-inch box. Ladies are going to jump to a 20-inch box. So watch those first couple of jumps off the bike. Faster times this week will be around maybe 8 to 10 minute mark, a minute on the bike, maybe 30 seconds on the burpees, 15 towards 18 minutes on the slower end. If you're looking to learn more about the stuff we talk about on Leadership Thursday, we have a class for you. It is called Brick by Brick. It is all things opening and managing your own practice, regardless of your payment method, cash, insurance, a blend of both. That course is for you. The next cohort starts after the new year on January 14th. We have a price increase coming your way. All of our courses currently priced at station-wise. You can still buy a course credit and get a coupon code good for all of 2025 that will let you purchase a course at the current $695 rate. So check out p10ice.com for more details. Okay, putting the 3 pillars of ICE into practice. What does that look like? It looks like, again, starting with that psychologically informed practice. Going through the symptom behavior model, yes, but also getting into goal setting. What are you unable to do? What are you hoping to do as you go through a plan of care with me here for physical therapy? And in general, what we're trying to show people is there is a light at the end of the tunnel, that if we are diligent in our data gathering, if we are very, very meticulous and methodical with our test-free test, we can show people progress towards their goals. Whatever you're currently experiencing and dealing with, it is not a forever thing. We can get through it. With our manual therapy, we're showing people, even temporarily, your symptoms can change, right? This is often an overlooked thing about manual therapy. We're expecting to maybe cure people with our hands. And really, we recognize that we are showing short-term gain. The research very, very much supports that. But what we are showing people with short-term gain is, hey, if a couple minutes of whatever we're doing can significantly reduce or maybe even temporarily resolve your pain, hey, you know what? Maybe it's not as bad as I thought, right? And again, building that confidence, building that resilience in that human being to say, this isn't as scary as maybe I thought it was. I think I'm going to be okay. I think if I stick with whatever this person is showing me and I'm diligent about it, I think I can get through that, right? And that's maybe one of the often undersold benefits of manual therapy. And then finally, applying fitness forward mindset to a plan of care. Helping people understand, hey, the more I do of this, the better I feel. As my capacity increases, my symptoms reduce. Hey, again, speaking to the topic of confidence resilience, I think I can heal my own injuries, right? And that's a very, very powerful moment for a lot of our patients and clients. I want to tell you a little case study here about a patient coming in with a chronic history of low back pain and diagnosed scoliosis, of a 10-year history of dealing with it, of that person who believes that if her back misaligns anymore, it could shatter or snap, right? So negative belief systems, a long time of dealing with pain, right lower extremity radiculopathy, that's really, really limiting functional tasks, sitting for prolonged periods, driving for prolonged periods, and that radiculopathy keeping her out of a lot of straight leg positions from very functional basic tasks like shaving her legs in the shower, right? Someone who wants to get back to exercising 90 minutes a week with a personal trainer 3 times a week, who had basically cut out all exercise at the recommendation of another healthcare provider. And so sitting down with that person in the first visit, hey, I think after having a look at everything, I think the stuff in your leg is coming from your back. We're going to try a technique where you lay on the table with your leg hanging off. I'm going to press on your back a bit. You're going to straighten your leg a bit. We're going to do that for a couple minutes, and then we're just going to see how things feel. Having that person stand up and go, wow, I can bend over and touch my ankle now, right? I see how at home, if I'm able to do more of what we just did, I understand now that I could go home and shave my legs normally in the shower, right? And so giving that person that reward of the objective data of our test-free test, of testing something like a straight leg raise, having that person understand that it feels maybe stiffer than it should and it's symptom provoking, doing some sort of intervention, and then immediately showing them the results of doing that intervention. Wow, that feels a lot better. I see how that is different from when we did the same thing 5 minutes ago. But not stopping there, right? Really building that patient up of saying, hey, you notice how you don't have that nerve pain anymore? I'm going to show you how you can do that exact same thing at home a couple times a day and kind of keep this train going. Because you're already feeling so much better, we're going to go out in the gym and we're going to try a couple things. Hey, wow, applying fitness forward out in the gym, you did a 20 rep max with a 53-pound kettlebell. This tells me, all things considered, you really haven't lost a lot of strength since you stopped doing your personal training. That really, it seems to be that your symptoms are limiting how you feel, and because you don't feel great, you don't want to move, which is a completely natural response to pain. Building that person up and saying, look, I don't think this is as bad as we thought. We were able to significantly reduce your symptoms in just a couple minutes. I'm going to show you a technique at home that you can do on your own to keep relieving your symptoms on your own. And also, by the way, you are not this weak, fragile person that you believe that you are. You were actually able to rip some high volume, heavy deadlifts in a way that folks with maybe really debilitating back pain would not be able to do. Comprehensive wrapping up the summary of those findings in a way that that person walks away feeling a lot more resilient. Now, hey, let's go back next door. Let's write up a couple things for you to do at home so that when you see me next time, we're hopefully even further along than we were when you left out the door today. And at the end of the day, understanding that true resiliency, true confidence in an organism comes from having the self-confidence that your body is strong, it can heal itself, but also, and I think this is often neglected with a one-sided approach, that understanding you have someone who understands what you need and want to do, you have somebody in your corner, you have resources to rely on, knowing that you have help when you need it is the most important thing. If we just apply psychologically informed practice, we often look like we're just talking to our patients and trying to convince them that they're not as hurt as they think they are, and they just need to get back at it, right? Without having resources to fall back on, that usually falls on deaf ears with a lot of patients. That if we just take a manual therapy only approach, a lot of folks maybe begin to believe that it's the specific techniques of the provider that are giving them relief rather than a short-term change in their symptoms that they could probably do at home with some self-care techniques. And if we just take a fitness-only approach, we misunderstand that most people don't feel like exercising when they're either an extraordinary amount of pain or maybe for somebody who is already very active, an extraordinary amount of soreness, and that we can't only just take a fitness-forward approach. The provider of choice blends all of these things together in the exact right amount that that person needs. Some people need more psychologically informed care. Some people need more hands-on care. Some people need more fitness-forward care. Everybody needs a different blend of these things, but everybody does need a blend of it. And at the end of the day, as Lindsay Huey from our extremity management division says, the dose makes the poison. And that if you are truly practicing at the top of your game, you are incorporating these things as much as possible as you can, but understanding that we only need to do as little as necessary for that person. Again, not every person needs a lot of hands-on care or any hands-on care. Not everybody who comes to see us needs an hour of high-intensity exercise. And not everybody who comes to see us believes that they are fragile people who need their confidence built up, but some of them are. And so understanding where your patient is at, an individualized, one-on-one, tailored plan of care is the way that you become the provider of choice in your community for these patients and athletes. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you have a fantastic Thursday. Have fun, quote unquote fun, with Gut Check Thursday. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.